I just wanted to point it out to our wonderful viewers that Ben is indeed sitting inside of a TIE fighter background on Skype with the Porkin shirt on. The viewers need to know. I deliver hard-hitting news.
I'll have you know, this T-shirt was purchased and gifted from one of our fans, Mr. Mishap.
Thank you, Mr. Mishap,
for giving him this
Mishap.
I got a random package in the mail one day, and I was like, "What the f?"
That was good.
I order a lot of things, but I did not order this. And I opened it up, and I was like, I don't know what beautiful sent me this. And I did some digging, and I saw Mr. Mishap's name on the receipt. I was like, you
So, just so you know, Mr. Mishap, he is wearing the shirt for the recording, and he is wearing it inside of a TIE fighter.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Oh, God, no. No.
That wasn't even a Star Wars quote.
I know. It's another Disney property. Disney bought our souls. Give us our money.
It's getting so much more desperate every time it comes up. Where's my money, Disney? Come on.
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever, the podcast in which we watch one Star Wars movie every week forever. This week, a Force just woke up.
I wish it didn't.
It should go back
Ben,
to bed.
how's your watch? It should go back to bed. Ben, how's your watch?
I hate this movie. This movie sucks. This is the first time in a long time where I didn't do a 50-50 viewing. I just sat through the whole fucking movie in one go. Because as most of you know, I'll sit down and watch half the movie and then either fall asleep or get distracted. And then like the next day I'll watch the second half. Because that's the only way I've been coping with this. And it really fell the fuck apart this week.
Chris, how was your watch?
I still really like this movie. I had a good time.
I want to pretty much immediately just like cut the tension with a knife. There was a conversation that was had earlier this week in the group chat.
Christopher.
Okay,
Benjamin.
go.
So
all I gotta do is
I got to the point in this movie where like, all right, everyone's back together, or I got kidnapped, and we have to go blow up the Death Orb. And I was like, in A New Hope, when we're at this point, there's like half an hour left in the movie, at most. And I looked at the time, and I was like, there's a fucking hour of footage left. How the fuck is there an hour of footage left?
And that's because the best hour of the movie is still yet to happen by that point.
You're insane.
I'm insane.
okay. I'll serve as moderator.
For this movie is the weaker half of this movie.
We don't need an hour of it.
We don't need an hour of Harrison Ford's amazing death scene. We don't need an hour of one of my favorite lightsaber duels. What? How is the back half of this movie not better than the front end of it?
For the exact opposite reason of A New Hope. Because A New Hope, I always feel like the ending is rushed. This movie, I feel like the ending is just so drawn out that I am bored to tears by the end.
I will say, my watch was mediocre. I feel both of the sides of this conversation. So I will serve as moderator for this discussion.
That's all I got. I was bored to tears for the last hour.
The beginning of this movie has fantastic character work and really good broad visuals, which I think JJ is good at when things aren't going 70 miles an hour.
When he's dialed in.
The back half does have the two most interesting scenes in the entire movie. Well, not interesting, but the two best scenes of the movie, which are Harrison Ford's death and that lightsaber duel.
Don't just keep saying Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I was going to say the same.
That's the best thing about this movie is
Han
Harrison Ford's death.
Solo disappears and Harrison Ford shows up and gets killed.
But I feel like in that judgment, we're also forgetting that there's a lot of forgettable stuff that happens in between all those good beats. So what I would compare it to, and I say this comparison with love for The Force Awakens and disgust for the other movie, it's a lot like Phantom Menace, where there's one scene, or in this case two, really good ones going on at one time, and then in this case two really not good scenes happening in the middle. So I would say, if push came to shove, there is no better front half or back half of this movie. It's just good mixed with bad all the way through. That would be my take on this. And now I will continue to moderate the discussion.
I don't have much more to discuss.
You know, it's like we both have strong opinions but aren't willing to fight for them, I think is the problem here.
I got it out. I hate the last half of this movie. That's it. That's just all there is to say.
Like, do you not enjoy the Kylo and Rey duel at the
I
Finn
do.
and
I'm
Kylo
just like
duel, great.
I don't see why we have to take an entire hour to blow up the Death Ball. It's just the only thing.
Well, it's better than here's this, you just shoot it right here and boom and bang and
It's not, though. It's not better than that, because the entire segment is totally forgettable and it doesn't really have any emotion behind it, whereas by comparison, that little one spot that blows up the other Death Ball is entirely memorable and the best part of the movie, whereas in most Star Wars movies, whatever is happening in space is not the most memorable part.
Yeah, I guess.
Like I said, I'm right down the middle on this one. But alternatively, I think it's only fair to the conversation to point this out. Ben, would you or would you not agree that part of the reason why you feel so strongly about this back half right now is because you watched it from beginning to end when you haven't done that forever?
Nah, it's mostly just like the only thing left on our objective list is destroy Starkiller Base. And that takes an hour because we have to sacrifice Han Solo.
This is interesting.
Rey has to fight Kylo.
This is interesting to me because Chris and I always sit down and watch it in one go. And we're always miserable, almost always at least. Ben always watches it in like two halves, and he's usually pretty okay compared to the rest of us. And I feel like we're discovering why Ben's okay on the podcast more, and he just doesn't realize it yet.
Yeah.
So maybe we should just watch it in halves.
No, I really realized that a while ago, honestly.
Because I've talked on this podcast a lot about how the prequels and the original, or the sequels, there gets to a point where I'm just constantly hitting my remote to see how much fucking longer is in the movie, because it doesn't matter what the quality on the screen is, I just want to be fucking done. And I don't think that did not play a factor here.
I got to a point this rotation, I sat in a Discord call with a couple of friends just to keep me awake through like 60% of this movie, because I was literally falling asleep.
There you go.
It was rough.
Like I said, I feel like there's merits to both sides of the conversation, but I think there's a lot of merit to the way you watched it also had a big factor. And I feel like we don't talk about that enough on the podcast either. Just how much the way you watch that movie or what your week is like, how it affects that watch.
Yeah. Definitely a lot of outside factors go into how miserable am I going to be on recording day this week.
I didn't have a great week, and that definitely made a watch that probably would have been all right very, very mediocre at best. But at the same time, I had edited the podcast a day early, and I sat down early to do it, so it wasn't like terrible. If I had waited until the end of the week to watch this, it would have been a terrible watch, and I know it. fan of the show. We have not named them on the show yet, so I feel like I should.
Is it redacted?
It is not redacted.
Ooh.
No, Redacted's been named plenty of times, but we name Redacted all the time.
I mean, it's redacted.
Yeah, it's good old Redacted.
Good old redacted.
Redacted.
Anja maxed out. I think that's how you pronounce it. Is friend of the show, Anja maxed out, watched with us the entirety of the last rotation.
Yes.
Who is the first one to do that with us, as far as we know. And I just wanted to highlight the comment because I think it's most prudent to this conversation, and also since they already did it, I think to honor them.
Yeah, kudos to this individual for
Seriously, that's
fucking sacrificing yourself with us.
Thank you. The comment is, just want to say I watched with you all for Rotation 4, and now that's over. I don't know if I've gained more respect for all of you or have lost more respect for myself. So with this, I'm a head out.
It's a good point. It's a real good point.
Fair.
Yeah, I saw that the other day, and I was like, "Oh, are they done with us finally?" That was the yeah. No, I did the rotation, and I can't be a part of this community anymore. Time to head out.
I'm out. I see the pain that you go through, and I want no part of it anymore.
And
Also,
I do not judge you if that is your course of action.
Also, thank you, friend of the show Zins, for just leaving such a slew of comments over the last week. We really have had an active fan base this week.
We should probably mention, we haven't mentioned it in a video. We have a Discord and stuff now.
We have a Discord and stuff now.
If you're one of those
Discord and a subreddit.
If you're one of those hip and happening kids over there on the Discord or the Reddits, you can find us there. Some millennials who are just bitching about Star Wars every week.
What's the Reddit, Ben?
r/SWEWF.
And when the episode goes up, you can go over to the Twitter at SWEWF. I will relink the Discord link. Come join us. We're very active because, hey, anybody that joins us in this hell makes it easier.
The more
also,
the merrier.
I mean, also, it's not, if we're being honest here, it's not like we're like Joe Rogan. We don't have like a billion people who are trying to talk to us. So like we're around. We got nothing going on.
We are very approachable.
We're very approachable. I would say we're pretty missable. We just keep going right there, and it's like, who's that guy?
I wouldn't blame him. I would not blame him. God.
My favorite thing about watching this movie this time was imagining 2010's Harrison Ford being told to interact with a green screen, specifically in the Rathtar scene. I was so amused by the mental image of just like JJ going, okay, so now there's so now these Rathars, these tentacle beasts are chasing after you, and he's like, okay.
So Harrison, they're balls with tentacles and a giant mouth.
You fucking nerd. How much am I getting paid? $5 million? Okay. $5 million? Are you sure? Okay, I'll do it. Fucking nerds.
I had a similar thought this week where I really need to know what it took from J.J. Abrams personally to get Harrison Ford to haul ass down that hallway the way he did. Because he really gave it his all. He was sprinting. He looked terrified. It was what did
$5 million would go a lot to you.
Have to do to get Harrison Ford? I can't imagine that conversation went well. Harrison Ford like kicks the door in. He's like, "Hey, fucko, listen, I read the script. It says you want me to sprint down a hallway. I'm not fucking running, you son of a bitch." Harrison Ford runs from nothing and nobody. I walk away from plane crashes. You little bitch. Holy shit. And then JJ went, "I'll give you another $5 million. And he went, "Sold, you son of a bitch." And then he sprinted down the hallway.
You're a great
he
negotiator.
Out of the conference room.
You should never think for more than a minute about how you negotiated here. It's a perfect. Comes in the next day. So I see that you have me saying this line, moof milker. I would never fucking say $2 million more. Fantastic. Thank you for your time, JJ.
You described Harrison Ford sprinting out of the conference room. I just pictured Harrison Ford Naruto running out of a fucking conference down the hall.
I can't.
Arms out.
I'm just looking up at my wall, imagining whatever comes of this comment. Sometimes I dream, or really more accurately, have nightmares about the edits that I put out into the world.
You're welcome.
I'm just thinking about what kind of Google searches would it take for the image of Harrison Ford Naruto running that I made for this stupid podcast to show up in Google Images.
It brings up that thing that we like to bring up every few episodes. I think it's been a while though, where this podcast is like it's a statement on mortality to a degree.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you want to leave behind when you're gone? Apparently, what Jay has decided to leave behind on this planet is Elon Musk edits.
Give Jay a fucking crisis.
A 17-minute pod racing.
No, that's Ben. I take no responsibility for that. That's on Ben.
But
that's what Ben leaves back in this world.
You edited that video together and put it out there, though.
Without my even asking.
That is on your editing hands.
I don't like...
Blood is on your hands, Jay.
That shit-posting blood is on your hands.
I am a 30-year-old individual. I don't have a lot of aspirations in life, but if it's possible to have negative aspirations, as in things that I want to do less than I currently do, I would say that my legacy in the world being, just like Harrison Ford on Naruto's body, Naruto running, is like the thing I opposite want to be remembered for. But here we are.
Wait, are you saying Harrison Ford on top of Naruto?
I can't. Do you see this giant image YouTube watchers of cannot be found?
Harrison Ford.
No, I'm trying to make sure that that's what I heard.
Naruto's giving Harrison Ford a piggyback ride and doing the run thing with his arms out and his head down.
That's what I imagined when Jay said Naruto.
Please stop.
They're just running. They're running so far.
Stop. I'm begging you to stop.
They're running. They're running. And they're running, and they're still running, and they're running forever, and eventually they run so fast they end up in space, and they pass a Tesla and an AT-AT.
This is beyond my editing capabilities, Chris. This will be the one that I can't do.
This is worse than
Palpatine Barbosa.
This is worse than that one episode where I just rattled a bunch of shit off, and Jay, being the absolute fucking badass that you are, managed to actually fucking pull it off. And I could see in your face you still hate me for it. And I don't judge you.
The combination of the memory of that work and the work you've just presented to me. Ben, you had a point.
It got lost somewhere with Harrison Ford Naruto running. Harrison Ford stole it and Naruto ran down the hall.
Speaking, while we're on the topic of mortality and what we leave behind when we're gone, do you want to hear the conversation I had with my wife while we were sitting waiting for our movie to begin today? In an empty movie theater, I told my wife that I'm considering, because we've been talking about getting tattoos again soon. I'm like, oh, what's my next tattoo gonna be? I had an epiphany. I'm gonna get the SWEWF logo tattooed only because I know, and this is exactly what I told my wife. And if it wasn't for the fact she's in the shower right now, I'd have her come in here and confirm this is why I told her I would do it. Because I know the embarrassment of having that on my body and having to explain that to people for the rest of my life is nothing compared to the joy it would bring me knowing the existential dread that Jay is going through every single day, knowing that that is on my body. knowing that I got that tattooed. The existential dread that would cause Jay.
Chris could possibly be advertising the podcast via tattoos on his body.
Look at my bicep. This is the podcast I do where we talk about dicks and Palpatine Barbosa.
And she was like, well, where would you get it? And I was like, well, that's a damn good question. Where would I put that monstrosity?
The forehead.
Tramp stamp.
You know?
The look on your face is scaring me. Chris has the face of like pure contemplation on right now.
It could work. It's like long. It would lay out nicely. You know, I've been down to fix a sink, and people are like, "What's that there?"
Oh, this?
This?
Oh, that's my podcast. You should check us out. We're on TuneIn and Spotify.
Yeah, you can check out. You can head on over to fucking YouTube and look at the shit post that the YouTube copy is, and stare at that logo.
I love how today I was bumming around the town I live near, and I ran into a person. I was like, dang, I really wish I could talk to this person, but I'm very awkward. And so I told that to my one group of friends, and they were like, yeah. And then Ben walks over and goes, hey, I have a podcast. We talk about Star Wars all the time. I'm like, you guys are assholes.
Best pickup line I've ever heard.
Like, you guys are actual assholes.
Just start hanging out at a Starbucks with like a scarf and a fedora and waiting for people to ask me what I'm doing. Just, oh, me? Oh, I'm just looking at the comments on my latest YouTube podcast. So,
you might have heard of us.
Yes, I am. I'm a co-host on a podcast.
Takes a big sip of my fucking mocha chai latte.
Yeah, I mean, it's ice cold. I've been here for hours.
Are we sure? Are we sure though? Are we sure? So is this like across the street from the Denny's in Wisconsin that is our eventual like retirement home?
There's a bowling alley next door. Sometimes I
lean
against the wall of the bowling alley, and as people pass, I'm like, "Hey, I have a podcast. Hey, how you doing?"
It's like we're gonna turn in. So in the town that I live near, and also Ben lives near, there used to be pop-up indie wrestling shows that would just appear behind the local bowling alley. Is that what we're doing? Are we having like pop-up Star Wars Every Week Forever live shows behind the bowling alley? Is that art? Is this our goal now? Is my question.
I was just given a lot of information I wasn't aware of.
The silence.
I'll sum it up for you. We're moving to Wisconsin. We're buying a bowling alley, and we're doing the podcast live out in the back lot behind our bowling alley.
While there's wrestling going on.
I would like to thank our 20 fans that arrived. I know you can't quite understand English, all of the rats that are going between the trash cans, but we appreciate you arriving.
And then there's just like Zins and Mr. Mishap sitting there waving at us.
Me and Jay are just doing wrestling commentary and occasionally plugging the podcast to like Greg from down the block who just wanders in drunkenly every once in a while because we don't charge for admission because 3 people come to this fucking dumpster fire.
All right, we got $15 today. Nice.
We got $15. That means we made negative $300 on this event.
Greg from down the block doesn't even know what a podcast is. He just shows up every once in a while. It's just like, I'll sit through whatever this is. Do you got Can I bum a cigarette at least? Okay, cool.
It's like one time I went to the Barnes and Noble that's like about half an hour from my house, and there was just
Barnes Noble.
Friends of the Show Barnes. No.
You could sponsor. No shout outs to anything that we could
Friend
get
of the
to
show
sponsor us.
brand.
Friend of the Show.
You brands that might sponsor us. You too can become a friend of the show.
So I was at Barnes and Noble the one time, and like I just happened to be there on the same day that Harry Potter the Cursed Child, that stage play that
fan fiction.
yeah, that fan fiction that the original author made. I just happened to be there the day it came out, and this group of I used to do community theater, and this group of actors from the area were all reading from it, and this was a group I didn't know very well, but I recognized some of the faces. I just sat down and like chilled out there, even though I had no idea what was going on. That's the feeling I get from Greg at our live show.
Has no idea what the brand is, just like showed up and it's like, you got food? I can bum a cigarette? Fuck yeah, I'll stick around.
At this point, in my life, I had never seen a Harry Potter movie. Except for maybe once when I was like 10.
He had no knowledge of Harry Potter until about 2 years ago, and it's probably better off that you didn't have any Harry Potter knowledge ever, considering.
There's some fun world building, but like people are problematic, so there's that.
Sounds like a little franchise I like to call Star Wars. Apparently all about the Skywalkers.
My God,
Yeah.
Surprise! It's all Skywalkers.
That's I went on a rant with one of the people I was watching and talking to. Well, that I was talking to while I was watching this movie. Words are important. And we went on a whole tirade while a third friend who has never seen a single Star Wars movie was there. Me and this friend were talking, and we both went on a rant about how like we just had to make Rey someone like special Skywalker bloodline or Palpatine bloodline, didn't we? And we had that whole fucking conversation.
I would like to start a petition to the
no.
Star Wars community.
Oh, no.
Perhaps we can get it started with our little community.
Probably
I think because Rey is the last one to survive to the end, even though she gave herself the Skywalker name, technically the Palpatine bloodline won, baby. Change it to the Palpatine saga. Fuck the Skywalker saga. It should be the Palpatine saga.
But
he's there from 1 to 9.
But
That's how you get -1, -2, and -3.
But wait. Isn't Palpatine Anakin's dad? Because he did the whole Immaculate Conception thing.
Star Wars
Skywalkers
is so
are
stupid.
Palpatines.
The Palpatine.
Star Wars is so fucking stupid.
So now I'm talking directly to you, fans. SWEWF on Twitter. Tag us. Use hashtag release the Palpatine cut.
Chris, no.
And we will make them. Hashtag release the Palpatine cut. Suck it, JJ. I hope you read this on a random Wednesday.
Why?
I hope somehow this reaches you.
Why a Wednesday in particular?
Okay.
On Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Can I workshop this idea just a little bit?
Oh no.
Do that, but also if you want to add a little bit of flair to it, hashtag release the Palpatine cut, and then put Palpatine's face on a random wardrobe. Just give out to the internet a bunch of Palpatine's face hyperimposed upon wonderful outfits. So if for some reason someone sees any of these tweets, they get very, very confused.
I feel like this is Jay just trying to like streamline future editing.
I'm
someone made that one. Yeah,
I'm gonna Joseph Gordon-Levitt it. God damn it! You do the work for me.
Maybe I'll put you in the credits. Who knows?
Maybe I'll put you in the credits. Should you get paid for your work? Yes. Are you?
No.
Friend of the show, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Is
No.
this the episode where we lovingly dunk on our tiny community the whole time? Because that's what it feels.
No.
It feels like we're just dunking
No, we
on the
love
two
you
people
all.
who listen to this show.
We love you all so much, and the reason why I brought up Joseph Gordon-Levitt is because I would never ask for anything from you all without you all being compensated. It would not be fair to you all. Don't put any effort into this show.
Yeah, we haven't done.
We don't deserve it.
Jay and I
We
had
don't
this
deserve
exact conversation like earlier this week.
Yeah. Last night, I think.
It was,
Or
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so like it is Saturday. We typically record on a Friday, but something came up we couldn't do Friday. And I totally forgot about this until I sat down to be ready to record. Pretty much. I was like, are we doing are we doing 7 or 7:30? And Jay was like, you mean tomorrow? And there was there was just this like my brain was trying to load, and I was like, tomorrow? And Jay was like, yes, we all agree to discuss this. I'm like, we didn't. Bullshit. And I scrolled up to like 2 days earlier. I was like, shit. As soon as someone said Saturday, I was 100% on board. So if anyone wants to know where my head's been all week,
This is
I
why
don't
we love
know
Ben.
either.
He's supportive and he's on board with things. Forgetful, but supportive and on board. You know? He's like,
This is I choose to see this episode as a love fest
This
for
ep-
each other and our fans.
this episode
Yeah.
is the one where we don't talk about Star Wars, we talk about ourselves.
Speaking of Star Wars,
Speaking of Star Wars, I'm really disappointed there's no pod race in this movie.
We had a good thing going here. We were just being like introspective and
I'd-
just enjoying, like just talking a little bit about this stupid thing we do here, this little journey we've gone on with like two other people, and like you just had to bum me out, man.
Yes, I love you, Jay. I love you.
I take
Oh,
partial
yeah.
responsibility for this pod race job. I led him into it accidentally. I forgot that there's a scene in this movie that makes me chuckle, and I didn't remember it when we've talked about moments in the sequel trilogy that make me chuckle.
Is it the scene where Hoogans chuckles at Ray?
No. Although every time it's like, hey, that's my buddy Hoogans.
Hi, buddy Hoogans.
It's the scene where Chewie's hurt as they get to the Alliance base, and he's kind of set off to the side, and there's this like medical personnel, and he's sitting there like growling at her, telling her the story, and she's like, oh, you must be so brave. Oh. The sarcasm,
Like just
so
totally
good.
humoring him, but being flatly sarcastic.
It's so good. It's such grandmother like energy. Just like, yeah, sure, I know your life's so hard. I'm so sorry. It's so good. It's adorable.
There's a shot I've been meaning to talk about in this movie. Harrison Ford is running down a hallway. He grabs a dude and throws him at the raft.
Straight up throw.
Right to the JJ from the office and ask for another $5 million. Continue.
Listen to me, you son of a bitch. I'm gonna do what to who?
Continue, Ben. I'm so sorry.
No, it bothers me so much because he
You
like
really does.
comes to a full stop from his sprint, just grabs a dude, throws him at the raft tower, and then just continues running. And I'm like, you would be further away if you just kept running.
I had the same thought, but I didn't write it down now that I think about it. What do you mean I have to grab someone and throw them? 10 million, JJ. 8. Fantastic.
You talked me into it.
You talked me into it.
Oh God.
Friend of the show, Harrison Ford.
Friend
It would
of
only-
the show, Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford wants nothing to do with like.
There has never
Star Wars.
been.
He wants absolutely nothing to do with us.
There has never been a bigger lie told on the show than
Yeah.
friend of the
Yes.
show, Harrison Ford.
We asked friend of the show, Kathleen Kennedy, to get in touch with him for us, and she did. And then she said, if you want him on the podcast, it'll be $20 million. And we're like, maybe one day we'll afford that.
I want a meta movie, and I'll write it. I'll direct it. I got this. Don't worry. I want there to be a meta movie that Disney produces that is in the same vein as the like Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe comic, where it's a John Wick-esque film about Harrison Ford having to eliminate everyone in his path that is trying to get him to play Han Solo one more time.
Okay, you sold me in the last.
You
sold me
reeled
in the
me
last
in at
few
the end
words.
there.
It's Harrison
You got
Ford
me at the end there.
having to John Wick his way through Disney.
I
Ford.
thought you were gonna go with Han Solo killing every character in Star Wars.
Yeah, I was
There's
gonna
a-
say no.
No, it's just Harrison Ford in real life trying to. It's like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back when they're trying to stop the movie. It's just Harrison Ford trying to stop Disney from using a full CGI recreation of him.
Oh my god.
I didn't give those bastards permission to make me a robot. I'm gonna kill that robot.
I'm gonna kill that robot.
And then we get a scene of Harrison Ford fighting fake Harrison Ford.
God, you have to do the cliche fake out where it's like, which one's the real one?
Yeah.
So what's better? John Ford, I don't like that one at all.
Harrison Wick.
Harrison Wick.
But fake Harrison Ford has to be played by the guy that played Han Solo in Solo. Please, no one ever has to actually look exactly.
Or Han Wick. Which one are we going with?
They're doing the scene at the end where they're like, no, I'm the real one. No, I'm the real one.
I thought about Ford Wick, but that sounds like a legitimate brand that Ford would put out. You gotta pay us if you want plugs, Ford.
Guys like pointing the gun back and forth. Like, I don't know which one to shoot. It's just two very different men.
At first, Harrison Ford's just like, dude.
It just turns into Star Wars Looper.
My God, no.
Old Harrison Ford for the future is out to kill young Harrison Ford that took his job.
Stop.
Ryan Johnson returns to direct.
Oh, that's awful.
Chris, why have you done this?
Harrison Wick sounds like he hasn't seen. You can go two ways. He's either Amish or he hasn't seen the sun in years. Harrison Wick sounds like
Why
a very
not
specific
both?
kind of person.
I don't know. This episode is really continuing the theme of this rotation of I don't know what the fuck happened.
What the fuck is happening?
I blacked out. I don't know. We were talking about Force Awakens at one point, and now I don't know what happened.
I got
where
us
we
back
are.
on track.
But
And we
Kathleen,
unwrapped
give me a call. I'm available to write and direct. I can be Harrison Ford's stand-in, I can.
Chris is just Harrison Ford's fucking stunt double.
Listen, Harrison Ford can do stunts far better than I can at this point. The man walked away from a plane crash. I worry every day I'm gonna trip and never walk again.
The other week, my friends were watching the Oscars, and I walk over and there's a part where Harrison Ford's like emceeing, and my one friend, the one friend I have looks over, he goes, Ben, you know that guy? I go, oh shit, it's Han Solo.
And everyone chuckled, but then I kept up the bit where Han Solo was reading the the award winner contenders, whatever the fuck that word is. Nominees.
Remember that episode of Star Wars Every Week Forever when Ben forgets the word nominee?
Oh my god.
I gotta start keeping notes of all of the words I either forget or stutter to pronounce.
Well, my favorite is this one. You redeemed yourself a bit because the last time you did this, you shouted out the word triumphantly, and it was the wrong word.
It wasn't even the word.
You were so
We should
just like, yeah, very good, buddy. Just sold you down the river.
we need to hire someone, and it would be friend of the show Zins almost assuredly, that just fact checks all the stupid shit that we say in a show
Well,
to like.
we've already on the fucking the episode where Chris made me read an article about masturbates. So we recorded that episode, and that same week, which was this past week actually when it went up, we launched the Discord, and friend of the show Zins goes, what was the fucking word? Tertiary. They just go, I still can't believe Ben doesn't know the word tertiary, and I immediately in all caps go, tertiary!
Well, I love
for
it too
some
because
reason,
like,
looking at it on Wikipedia, I couldn't get it, but when someone types it out in Discord, I'm like, oh, I know that word.
I love the fact too that like you brought that up, or Zins brought that up, and it was like, oh yeah, Jay and I just totally left you hanging on that. We just let that one go right by.
Well, I wasn't paying attention anymore. There's times where I'm just done with Wikipedia and I just close it and I'm not there anymore.
With me just verbatim quoting Wikipedia.
That same episode, friend of the show Zins leaves a comment.
Oh no.
At the beginning of that episode,
I haven't caught up on all these
saying,
comments, so I'm scared.
At the beginning of the episode, we kept saying Leonardo da Vinci painted the Sistine Chapel.
Yes.
Which, of course, they point out it was fucking Michelangelo.
Michelangelo.
Which is why I think they would be perfect for this job. On the opposite side of things, Mr. Mishap replies later down in the reply plug, who cares which Ninja Turtle painted the Sistine Chapel?
I love you, all you beautiful bastards.
I love our fans so much.
Welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever, the retrospective.
The retrospective show where we talk about our fans who are way funnier than us.
Yeah.
Way smarter, way funnier, way more talented. I'm gonna pass out.
If we end up doing the whole once we become so mentally fucked that we can no longer record, we're gonna have a stand-in. Mr. Mishap, hold on to your ass.
Don't sign up Mr. Mishap to be our replacement.
They don't have a choice.
You shouldn't ever start a request with "hold on to your ass." First off,
hold on to your ass. We would like you to do Star Wars Every Week Forever.
Nothing good comes after "hold on to your ass."
Can I try to ground us as we say goodbye to this episode for a second?
You can try.
I have a lot of notes from this episode, believe it or not, that did not come up because I was more interested in this derailing fucking mess that we made. I want to say, after watching this watch specifically, I think Chris is right in that Kylo Ren has the most interesting lightsaber dueling style in the entire saga. The way he flourishes and moves between each attack, just the way he'll fall back, the way he has total control over that saber to go from one to a parry to a strike to defense so quickly is fucking excellent. And even though I made the complaint that I feel like the weight of these lightsabers in the sequel trilogy sometimes takes away from it, the way he moves specifically in this movie, it looks like that thing is the lightest fucking thing on the planet. It's really good.
But at the same time, he's putting so much fucking force behind it, and that's just so fitting for his character.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I was talking about with my friends when I was watching this movie is I just at one point when it was the scene where Kylo first takes off the mask when he's interrogating Rey, and I just went, thank fuck for Adam Driver. Because Adam Driver really gets me through this movie sometimes.
I don't know.
I absolutely adore Adam Driver.
The one thing you can say, well, I kind of compare the prequel and the sequel trilogy very similar, that they have strong bits and weak bits, and the weak bits are very weak and the strong bits are very strong. The acting across the board in these movies is way, way, way better. The dialogue isn't, but the acting performances are exceptional. There's not a weak actor in any of these movies. They're all exceptional. So that really is the thing that makes the sequel trilogy for me when we're watching it. Every time we get to it, no matter how tired I am, it's like, are these actors that have chemistry? Are they actors that are able to pull off dialogue and kind of come off like people? Holy shit, I haven't experienced this for the last 6 movies. Occasionally you get it between Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford, but even they are bogged down sometimes in George's style of dialogue.
Yeah. There were lines that Mark Hamill just flat out would not say. Like, I forget what it was, but there was one line he had written for Mark, and it was like some sort of super exposition dump. And Mark goes, "No, George, I get what you're trying to do here." Like, and he totally picks apart the sentence. He's like, "They need to know that, like, these people went to this place for this reason. But you can't say it like this. Because it sounds awful."
It reminds me of what Harrison Ford said in the interview. He's like, George Lucas thinks that acting is just putting something on a page and just reading it on camera. Well, it doesn't always work like that, George. Sometimes it takes a little more than that.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. On the opposite side, the thing that the prequels definitely have that these movies do not for me, I get so tired of the designs in in these three so often because they're
like the character designs, or
no. I think the character designs are really good.
Okay,
that's what the designs of the world, the designs of the
like the set pieces and everything.
Yeah. It's so much of it is so original trilogy based that it almost just gets like repetitive at times. Like
we've seen this before. Okay.
Like, I don't think if I'm gonna criticize these movies like on a design principle, and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, so ignore me. I understand that they wanted to ignore me. Don't listen to me on this podcast. You can click off right now. That's the underline of our podcast. If you want to listen, here it is. They wanted to go for nostalgia, so they wanted to make the designs as close to the original trilogy as they could. I think all they needed was the Falcon. If they had the Falcon, that drove the entire aesthetic for you.
Oh yeah.
If everything came off kind of dirty-ish, if all of that was there, they would have had that nostalgia, and they wouldn't have needed to, like, the Star Destroyers in this movie are literally just Star Destroyers with the little cutouts that they have in the... Ben, you would know. What's the Star Destroyer light that's in Revenge of the Sith?
Star Destroyer light?
Like it's the prequel to the Star Destroyer. It's the design.
The prequel, the Clone Wars era Star Destroyers, the Venator class.
Yeah. It's just the Star Destroyers in this movie are just the Star Destroyer with similar cutouts to that class of ship.
Yeah,
Or,
they
like-
took a Venator class Star Destroyer and just like squashed the top to make it like a flat rectangle.
Right.
And that's what the New Order or First Order
Right.
Star Destroyers are.
Or like the Stealth X's, which are not Stealth X's, they're just black painted X-wings. It's
At what point in their occupation of the galaxy do you think that they would move on to the Second Order? Or do you think they would just perpetually
Well,
stay
they went
up
from the
on
first one
floor?
to the final one. So
I feel they skipped a few steps. I've formed no orders in my day, so maybe I'm not the expert, but
you were thinking
feels
about
like-
that for so long.
it feels like you don't just go from first to final unless
No,
there's
like,
only
well,
two
that-
steps, and at that point, just
that happened quick.
call them the two things. I don't know. I don't know. It's been bothering me for a while.
No, look,
Get that
we got
off my
First
chest.
Order, we got the Second Order, we got the Second and a Half Order, which was kind of like the second one, but a little different.
As I was talking, I was watching
Advanced
Chris.
order.
I was watching Chris, and I could see him just mulling something over. So I was trying to
gears turning in his head.
So I was trying to get him to my point as fast as possible, which isn't easy for me, so he could say whatever he was thinking. It was the Second Order.
Eventually we get to Order 5E, and everything's really accessible and easy to use.
But we don't talk about the fourth one or the third one.
No, we just
Yeah,
We talk about the third and a half one sometimes. That was pretty alright.
some people love the 3.5 Order. Some people love the Second Order. There was that weird offshoot that was just like Second Order but less. That was very
it's,
strange.
I believe it's that spin-off called J.J. Abrams' Star Trek.
This has been Star Wars every week forever. Good night.
Anytime I ever hear Chris reference Star Trek is
It's
the
the
memory
dump.
I have of the first time, like the first rotation, one of the early episodes. It might have even been the preview episode where we were talking about the Star Trek movies that JJ did, and Chris goes, "Yeah, I thought I was watching a Star Wars movie."
He's like, oh no.
He goes, I knew something was wrong because I was enjoying it.
Yeah, I knew something was wrong, so I wasn't bored to death.
If you enjoyed that episode, why not like and subscribe? Also, share it with a couple friends. Bring them into this hellscape that we've done to ourselves. You can catch brand new episodes every single Wednesday on Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, pretty much every other platform you get your podcasts on. If you'd like to extend the suffering, you can catch us over on twitter.com at SWEWF. We post direct links to brand new episodes every week as soon as we upload them, and you can catch the occasional other dumb Star Wars take, and who wouldn't want that? Catch you guys later.